for Women's History Month celebration of American history. Justices, we are gathered in the hall that used to be the chamber of the House of Representatives, a place where Abraham Lincoln served of the House of Representatives. And on very special occasions, the Speaker, and I thank the Speaker for extending the hospitality of this historic occasion, so that in Women's History Month, we would have the occasion to appropriately honor the women justices of the Supreme Court. We are so thrilled that they are here. Associate Justice Ruth Ginsburg. Associate Justice Sonia Sotomayor. Justice Elena Kagan. Unfortunately, Sandra Day O'Connor could not be with us. Her good wishes, and we will send yours to her. With her, all the appreciation in the world. But I did hear that Associate Justice David Souter was here. Let's hear it for him, even though it's Women's History Month. I'm proud to welcome all, joined by the Republican Conference Chair, Cathy McMorris Rodgers. Thank you, Cathy McMorris Rodgers. And we are entertained by the U.S. Army String Quartet. Thank you, String Quartet, wherever you may be. Thank you. We're really very excited about today, especially that so many of you recognize how important this is. Thank you for coming together for this bipartisan, really nonpartisan celebration. Each Women's History Month, Americans honor the giants of our history. Remember the women who advanced the cause of equality at the ballot box, in the boardroom, and before the bar. We're so proud of suffragettes who are in the other room. Susan B. Anthony, Elizabeth Cady Stanton, Lucretia Mott, they're in the rotunda. That took some doing on the part of Pat Schroeder to get them recognized in the Capitol. We hail the achievements of the leaders and advocates of the suffragettes, the activists, and every woman who stood up and stepped forward to claim a full and equal place in our society. America is built on their shoulders, the groundbreakers, the trailblazers, the women among the first in our history. They hold our attention, they ignite our aspirations, they are owed our deepest gratitude, and you're going to be hearing me use the word first a great deal today. It takes a lot to be first. Courage, a lot of commanding respect. And today, it is our privilege to honor the first women to reach the highest court in the land, the first 4 women associate justices of the Supreme Court of the United States. And just think, it happened not only in the lifetime of most of us in the room, but for mothers in the lifetime of our children. This is such recent history, so long overdue. Justice Sandra Day O'Connor, the very first, who stood as the only woman on the Supreme Court for over a decade. Justice O'Connor is with us today, as I mentioned, but as we know, her leadership is an enduring presence both in these halls, in the halls of the court, and the bright future of every woman in the legal profession today, indeed, for every American. Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, one of the members of the Harvard Law Review, first. One of the first women hired with tenure at law school. Another first. Co-founder of the Women's Rights Project at the ACLU. The first justice to earn and deserve a nickname as the notorious RBG. Justice Sonia Sotomayor, the first Hispanic ever to serve on the Supreme Court, whose journey from the Bronx to the bench stands in an enduring affirmation of the power of the American dream, an author, role model, and favorite on Sesame Street. And Justice Elena Kagan, the first female dean of the Harvard Law School, the first female Solicitor General of the United States of America, and the woman whose historic confirmation, first time that there have ever been 3 women sitting in the court. Isn't that exciting? All who would follow footsteps. Justices, I'm combining myself to my notes because I know you have to do at the court, and if I didn't use my notes, I would speak so much more than every one of you. And as we look around us, we know this to be true. Women succeed, America succeeds. That's our motto. Let's do that again. When women succeed, battles to be won on behalf of the women of our country. So today, let us all rededicate ourselves to the work of delivering justice and equality to every American, of empowering every woman to succeed, and the American dream. It is now my pleasure to introduce the highest-ranking Republican woman in the House of Representatives, House Republican Conference Chair Cathy McMorris Rodgers. I didn't want to dampen your enthusiasm for it, but I have more to say. Congresswoman McMorris Rodgers is a working mom. She has her first in her own right. She holds the special distinction of being the only member of Congress in history to give birth 3 times while in office. How about that? She's a wonderful mom and balances so beautifully. Thank you for joining us, Conference Chair McMorris Rodgers. Now, let's have a welcome.
Well, thank you. What an honor it is for me to join in celebrating extraordinary women in politics and in public service. And being in this room today, I can't help but be reminded of so many of those women, and a quote by British Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher that is one that I especially enjoy, when she said, "If you want something said, ask a man. If you want something done, ask a woman." And it's great to see women getting it done, and I'm proud to stand with all of you today. And you know, if you would have told me as a little girl, one day put my hand on the Bible and be sworn in as the 200th woman to ever serve in the House of Representatives, I thought it possible. And that was 10 years ago. Today, with many of my colleagues, you know, there's 300 women currently serving in Congress. It's a record. It is the most that we've ever had. Or 300 that have served. There's 100 serving, sorry. Thank you, Donna. There's 300 who have served. 100, yes. That's why I'm not supposed to use numbers. Anyway, okay. I find myself, as Leader Pelosi said, so grateful to those who walked this with me, and I stand on the shoulders of giants. And we're grateful for those trailblazers, for those women who showed extraordinary courage and have given us more opportunities than ever. But yet, you know what? There's more heights to reach. And I am proud to join today in celebrating those who have broken the barriers, inspired the next generation, and to those who we are honoring today that are currently serving on the Supreme Court. You've changed the service, and I'm proud to celebrate all of us today. Thank you.
Hearing the Congresswoman say she never thought that this would happen, well, I certainly never thought that I'd be standing as the first woman to ever be Speaker of the House. To be acknowledging, imagine, just go back a couple of decades, first woman Speaker of the House to be acknowledging 4 women who have served in the Supreme Court, 3 of them at the time. This is so remarkable. So now it is my privilege to present to you a champion for women Someone, as I mentioned, came to Harvard Law as the mother of a baby daughter. Someone who faced down the pervasive in her profession, someone who stands today as one of the greatest legal mind of any generation. Speaking on behalf of her colleagues and on behalf of my colleagues, I am honored to introduce to you the most senior woman justice on the Supreme Court, Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, also known as RBG.
Thank you. Justice Sotomayor and I had an exhilarating experience on Monday of this week. We went to the Federal District Court in Brooklyn, New York, Brooklyn, my hometown, to celebrate the 150th anniversary of that court. The first woman ever to be appointed to that court was appointed in the year 1987. And today, 2015, more than half of the judges of that court are women. Once the door is open, there is no stopping us. I thought I would tell you about the first woman to argue in the United States Supreme Court. Her name was Bell. She applied for admission to the in 1876. She was a graduate of what is now W Law School. She had practiced successfully for the requisite 3 years. Her application was turned down. The vote was 6-3. The reason, she was a woman. But Belva Lockwood was not the type to go off in a corner and cry, bemoan her sad fate. Instead, she came here. She lobbied Congress relentlessly for 3 years, and in the year 1979, Congress passed a bill that said women who possess the necessary qualifications must be admitted to the bar of the Supreme Court. It is my favorite example of how sometimes the Congress is more in tune with changing times and the expansion of the idea of equality than the court is. So we had experience with the third branch and with the first branch. That wasn't enough for her. She ran to be President of the United States twice, in 1884 and in 1888. People were aghast. Yes, she said, I know we have the vote, but nothing in the Constitution says we can't run for office. So it has been a great pleasure for me and my colleagues to spend this time with you. And now the women in Congress are over 100. Next time I come back, I expect there will be even more.
Next time you come back, there may be even more women on the court. Thank you. I want to show you that not only has Justice Ginsburg honored us with her presence and her wisdom and her words, but this is what she brought us today. Just a mom that she is, the most gigantic chocolate chip cookies you could ever imagine. I don't want that idea. So, let us once again thank the women of the court, the highest court, the example to the world, the beacon to women everywhere, for joining us today. What better way for us to observe Women's History Month than to honor their intellect, their courage, their strength, their determination, success as justices of the Supreme Court. Justice Ginsburg, thank you, Sotomayor, thank you, Justice Kagan. We're going to get our photo with them now.